All right, let's dive in. Today, we are talking about a truly influential novel from modern Urdu literature, Peer-e-Kamil, which translates to the perfect mentor. So let me ask you something right off the bat. Do you think it's possible for someone with a genius-level IQ, we're talking 150, to be completely and utterly lost in life? Well, that question right there, that's the absolute core of Peer-e-Kamil. It's a hugely popular Pakistani novel by Umera Ahmed that came out in 2004, and it's really stuck with people because it just digs so deep into these ideas of faith, intelligence, and what it all means. When you boil it down, this is really a powerful story about two people on completely opposite paths. A single moment that just changes everything, and the profound spiritual journey that comes out of it all. Okay, so to really get this, we've got to meet the two main characters. Their lives start out miles apart, but trust me, they are on a collision course. And man, is this a study in contrasts? On one side, you've got Imama Hashim. She's born into this wealthy family, but she's searching for spiritual truth, and she's willing to risk it all to convert to Sunni Islam. Then you've got Salar Sikander. This guy has an IQ over 150, but he's just morally lost. He's arrogant, reckless, and his life is totally empty. I mean, they couldn't be more different. So let's dig into Imama's situation a little more. This isn't just some intellectual debate for her. Her choice has real, brutal consequences. Her family gets violent. They lock her up, they threaten her, and in the end, they completely disown her. And what's so powerful is that she chooses this. She chooses truth over all the comfort and security she's ever had. And then you have Salar. I mean, this guy has it all, right? He's brilliant. But what's he doing with that brain of his? He's just indulging in everything, totally detached from people. And this really gets to the heart of his problem. For all his intelligence, he's just restless and empty inside. His IQ isn't a source of wisdom. It's a source of arrogance. So how in the world do these two even cross paths? Well, that brings us to the one moment, the fateful encounter that changes everything. Okay, so to escape her family, Imama does something totally desperate. She needs legal protection to get away, so she enters a secret, forced marriage with Salar. But hold on, this is not a romance, not at this point. It's a purely practical move, a marriage of convenience. And this whole arrangement is super quick. Basically, step one, they get married, so she's protected. Step two, they immediately go their separate ways. It seems like that's the end of it, but what Salar doesn't realize is that this one little interaction has just planted a seed that's going to change his entire life. And that moment is what kicks off the biggest theme in the whole novel, transformation. Now we're going to focus on Salar and watch how this one small thing sparks this huge, almost unbelievable journey to redemption. So you can really trace his journey. He starts out living that reckless life, no purpose, no morals. But then something happens. A spiritual awakening starts to kick in. And look, it's not like a light switch flips. It's a massive inner conflict. He's wrestling with his past. But eventually, that leads to real, sincere repentance. And from there, he goes on this quest for knowledge, traveling abroad to really learn about his faith. And this entire journey, this whole transformation, it all comes down to one single powerful realization. Intelligence without faith is hollow. So what does that really mean, though? For Salar, it meant realizing that his success, his genius IQ, all of it, it was totally meaningless without a bigger purpose. He figured out that real peace doesn't come from just doing whatever you want, but from surrendering to God. And maybe most importantly, he had to accept that changing himself wasn't going to be easy. It was going to be slow and painful. All right, so we've seen where these characters have been. Now let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger themes of the book and really get into what that title, Peer-e-Kamil, actually means. So, Peer-e-Kamil. It's an Urdu phrase, and it means the perfect mentor. And honestly, that title is the key to understanding the whole book. But here's the thing. The perfect mentor isn't actually a character in the novel. It's a symbol for something way bigger. It's referring to the Prophet Muhammad as the ultimate spiritual guide. The idea is that real guidance, real mentorship comes from God, and that's how people can find a sense of completeness. And you can see all these big ideas playing out through our characters. You want to see repentance and redemption? Just look at Salar's complete 180. The whole faith versus intellect debate, that's Salar's 150 IQ being totally meaningless until faith comes into the picture. Divine destiny? I mean, come on, bringing these two polar opposites together had to be for a greater purpose. And the search for truth? That's Imama, willing to sacrifice everything. So years go by, and the story comes full circle. Salar and Imama reunite, but they're completely different people now. He's transformed, humble, spiritually grounded, and she's this pillar of strength, shaped by everything she went through. When they build a life together this time, it's not about convenience. It's real. It's built on shared faith, deep respect, and a desire to serve. And that brings us right back to where we started, with a question for you. When you see a story like this, where two people can change so completely, where raw intellect has to take a back seat to faith, how does that make you think about our own ideas of purpose and destiny? What really gives a life meaning, and how much control do we actually have?